What's happening, everybody? Justin, Bridgewater's Finest on YouTube, Blockbuster_guy on Twitter, and our long social media nightmare is finally over. The trade has happened. Aaron Rodgers is officially a member of the New York Football Jets. Let's talk about the trade. So just in case you happen to wake up from a coma this morning and go, what in the world is going on? The Green Bay Packers and the New York Jets finally pulled the trigger on the trade yesterday, sending Aaron Rodgers to the New York Jets in a deal that involved 6 draft picks, including a pick swap in Thursday's opening round of the 2023 NFL Draft. Here's how it went down. The Packers sending Aaron Rodgers, as well as the 15th overall pick in the draft, as well as pick number 170, which is a 5th round pick, to the New York Jets in exchange for pick number 13 in the draft, pick number 42 in the draft, which is a 2nd round pick, pick I believe 207 in the draft, which is a 6th rounder, and a 2024 conditional 2nd round pick, which could become a 1st round pick if Aaron Rodgers plays 65% of the New York Jets offensive snaps in 2023. So just looking at the deal on the surface, I do think it's one of those trades where both teams genuinely get what they want. And I think the player involved gets what they want as well. Look, I mean, he publicly expressed, like, look, my intention is to play for the Jets next year. So at that point, it's not a matter of, is this trade going to happen? It's a matter of, when is the trade going to happen? Is it going to happen on draft night, before the draft, after the draft, only dealing with futures picks? Like, there were all kinds of weird scenarios, and there's still stuff that could play out. But the fact that this gets done now, it gives both teams closure. The Jets have their quarterback. Look, if Zach Wilson wasn't going to be the guy, they wanted to go out. And look, the AFC is an absolute, it's an arms race in the AFC. And the Jets needed their guy. So the Jets went out and got their guy. On Green Bay's side of things, look, if Aaron Rodgers wasn't going to be in the long-term picture, I think they got, on the surface of this deal, fair value for Aaron Rodgers and potentially above fair value for Aaron Rodgers, depending on obviously what happens with that conditional pick. And this is why you draft Jordan Love in 2020. Like, I always kind of held it as a feather in my cap that when I did my mock draft, my final mock draft before that entry draft, I called Green Bay trading up for Jordan Love. And everybody was like, why in the world would they do that? And then they did it, and this is why you do that. Now, you could make the argument that the fact that they did that kind of set in motion the events that caused Aaron Rodgers to leave Green Bay, that maybe it was a self-fulfilling prophecy, and we can have that conversation for sure. But this is why you draft the next guy before you need the next guy. So here's what this is. In exchange for Aaron Rodgers no longer being the starting quarterback for the Green Bay Packers, Green Bay traded up a couple of spots in the 1st round, traded back from the 5th round to the 6th, picked up a 2nd round pick, a pretty decent 2nd round pick as well. The Jets had 2 back-to-back seconds by virtue of a trade with Cleveland earlier in the offseason. They had 42 and 43. So Green Bay gets the better of those 2 picks. They get, at the very least, the Jets' 2nd round pick next year, which then has the potential, and let's be honest, outside of a catastrophic injury to Aaron Rodgers, that 2nd round pick is going to become the Jets' 1st round pick for next year. That's a really savvy move by the Jets front office, because I think they looked at a climate where, okay, we saw the Rams make their play for their quarterback. They got Matt Stafford. They won a Super Bowl. That's an instance of a move like that working out. Then they saw Denver make their move. They go get their quarterback in Russell Wilson, and it didn't really work out all that well in that 1st year, did it? Like, you make that trade, you trade away your 1st round pick, and then you have a mediocre season where that 1st round pick is inside the top 10. That's what we're seeing with the 1st round of the draft this year. So the Jets got an opportunity to see the best of that situation and the worst of that situation, trading for their veteran guy. It's a savvy move by them to say, look, we know you want our 1st round pick. We're going to give you the 2nd, but we're going to put a condition on it where if something catastrophic doesn't happen, it will be your first round pick. Because the Jets are banking, like, we have our guy, we're going to go to the AFC Championship game. Or like we're going to have a deep run in the playoffs. That first round pick is going to be somewhere in the 20s, probably. So it's better than like having a situation like a Denver situation come up where you trade away your first round pick, you have a really bad season, and the pick is in the top 10. Like they've hedged against that with the number of or percentage of snaps played, where as long as there's not a catastrophic injury to Aaron Rodgers, and assuming like the Jets are that he's going to play like Aaron Rodgers, he'll fulfill that. Yes, they have to trade away the first round pick, but it's not like it's a top 10 pick. It's essentially they top 10 protected that pick. The Jets got their guy. The Packers got more dangerous on draft night. And I think there's something else in the works here, where here, obviously, Brian Gutekunst has shown that he's not afraid to trade up. And I think they're targeting someone specific in the first round, probably a couple of players, but I think they're targeting a specific positional group. And if the opportunity is there, they've now gotten a better chance to get the guy that they want out of that group. And if they have to maybe trade up another spot or two to get him, now they have a little more ammunition where they can do that. From the Jets' perspective, like where they have those multiple second round picks, they didn't have to trade out of the first round. They just traded back a couple of spots. They didn't have to trade out of the second round because of that trade they did with Cleveland. They had multiple second round picks. They got to trade up from the 6th to the 5th. Like all of this, I think, is a win for the Jets, with the exception potentially of next year having to give up their first round pick, which we assume will probably be the case. But for the most part, like I think they paid fair market value, with the potential that, yeah, they might have overpaid a little bit. But it depends on the results next year. And in the AFC, you kind of got to pay to play right now. Like the AFC is so good and so deep with talented teams and elite quarterbacks. If you don't have that elite quarterback or somebody you could argue is an elite quarterback, boy, it's awfully tough to make your way in the AFC right now. So they made the move. They got their guy. Green Bay is more dangerous on draft night, which is a big 2 thumbs up from me. The Jordan Love era is about to begin in Green Bay. I've been saying for months, and I'm sticking to it, I'm not afraid of a rebuild in Green Bay. If you have to tear it down to the struts, with the exception of the young pieces that are already in place, both on the offensive and the defensive side, if you have to tear it down to the struts, you have to tear it down to the struts and start again. As a fan and as a kind of an armchair GM, I'm not scared of that. That's actually an exciting prospect to me. And I'm very excited to see what happens with Jordan Love this year. I've been on the Jordan Love train ever since before they drafted him. Like I thought it was a good idea to trade up and go get him. Now I kind of get to see a few years later the fruits of that labor and the fruits of that faith. So I'm very excited. I really think Green Bay is in a good place. And if what happens with the condition, if what we all think is going to happen with the condition does actually happen, I think this is all roses here for both sides. I'm very interested to see how this 2023 season plays out. What do you think? What did you think of the trade? A lot of people are saying the Jets overpaid. Do you think the Jets overpaid here? What do you think on Green Bay's side of things? Who do you think Green Bay might be targeting in that first round in the draft, moving up a couple of spots, having some more ammunition to do so again if need be? Who do you think they might be targeting in the draft? Everything surrounding this trade and this move, let me know your thoughts down in the comments section below. In terms of Aaron Rodgers' legacy with the Green Bay Packers, the legacy is all good. I mean, he won a Super Bowl. He went to multiple NFC championship games. Packers all-time leading touchdown passer. One of the most efficient passing quarterbacks in NFL history. First ballot Hall of Famer. Packers Ring of Honor. All of these things are coming Aaron Rodgers' way. I can't be mad at the guy for wanting to go somewhere else to continue chasing a championship. And I don't think Green Bay is in that championship chasing window anymore. He said it himself. He's like, I can see the 18th green. Like I'm pretty well there. So you want me to be mad at the guy? I'm not. In fact, I'm going to co-opt and kind of paraphrase a line from the venerable Steve Dangle here when he did a video about Phil Kessel getting traded from the Toronto Maple Leafs. So long, Aaron. You're kind of weird, but you're pretty good at football. All I feel right now for Aaron Rodgers is an immense feeling of gratitude for everything that he brought to the Green Bay Packers for, a decade and a half. I mean, like, this guy was the face of this franchise for years and years and years. I was very happy to have Aaron Rodgers as my quarterback. He's not anymore, but I'm awfully excited about the fact that Jordan Love is my quarterback now. That's it for me, Justin, Bridgewater's Finest on YouTube, Blockbuster_guy on Twitter. The first round of the NFL draft takes place on Thursday. Hopefully I'm going to have one more mock draft out before then. We shall see, because time is getting a little short. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you on Thursday for the first round of the draft. Should we do a little something for the first round? Stay tuned.